as a practitioner, believe that it's far more important and prudent to be protected than it is to be weaponized. And so I just don't believe in being a spiritual gangster. You know, I don't believe in that. I don't think that, there's certain spiritual laws that exist, and the main one that we all need to be concerned with and that we need to understand is karma. Now, karma is not a bad thing. When you say the word karma, people always think, it means, oh, you're going to get what you deserve. But it does mean that. It means that you are going to get exactly and absolutely what you deserve. And there's no color to that. It's not good or bad or black or white. It just is. The universe is very intelligent and it is ruled by mathematics. Mathematics is the fiber that holds the universe together. And so you must understand that if this, then that. That is a spiritual law. That's a universal law. It's actually a law of physics. But for everything that you do, there is going to be a related reaction. Okay? And so you just have to understand that. And it doesn't mean that if you do something bad is going to happen to you. You can do something bad and it can turn out to be something really good for a lot of other people. It's all mathematics. So really, you need to be very informed about what the situation is that you're addressing, and then you have to be intelligent enough to understand and intuitive enough to predict the consequences of your actions. And most importantly, you need to operate in integrity, And so if you're operating in integrity, then revenge is not something that you contemplate. Random destruction is not something that you contemplate. Affecting someone's heartbeat is not something that you contemplate or that you even have the audacity to feel that you have dominion over.
So there's something that you said that I 100% agree with. I want to talk about what you can do and what you should do. Now,
well, you can do almost anything.
And I'm about...
You can do almost anything,
What you should do is be prudent and stay protected. It's better to set up a booby trap than it is to have somebody shooting out across the horizon from a water cannon. It is different types of karma. I 100% agree with that. I think when it comes to civilian warfare, I don't think that it's okay to... I think that, well, I'm not going to say because I'm lying. You should not go to the family grimoire and go to work. Okay, and going down to the grocery store or the farm, ready to pick up some products to kill some animals. You should perhaps pick up the family Bible, pray on it, or contact one of us to get things done. However, now let me tell you about what you can do. Don't be like me, because I'll tell you what you can do. Now, I ain't did it, but I can tell you what you can do. So, in Voodoo, we don't pray. We make demands. That being said, I have made it my individual duty to start trying to pray more, as we've talked about. And I always encourage people to pray, Priscilla Shire. But we make demands. And the thing is that that's what makes Haitian Voodoo really dangerous, is that you don't...
Explain the making demands, though. Explain what that means. What do you mean when you say we make demands? You're demanding what of whom?
We demand the Loa to do something for us. And it's not you don't... How do I say this? It's not yes or no, will they do it? It's just, what do they want to do it? I probably have said this before and I was wrong, but I don't think any Loa will turn down any work. And it's not just Barone. I think you can do it. I think that, and for me, as someone that, I think because of the Scorpio in me, I think revenge is okay to act out on. As long as you can suffer the consequences, and usually, I'm saying this because I don't like being embarrassed, but shit, I've just ate up 10 miles of shit just to get back at a motherfucker one time. So, no, you shouldn't do it. Yes, you can do it. But again, what makes Haitian, like, what makes Haitian voodoo dangerous for the individual practitioner is that a lot of the times the only thing that's stopping you is the knowledge, is not knowing how to do it or not knowing how to do it. If you don't know how to do it, then it can't be done. And that's really it. Like, I can ask my godfather right now, because I've asked him before. I was like, hey, help me to fuck somebody up. And he was like, I think that you need to focus on X, Y, and Z. Or you need to go and leave an offering for this. There are other things you have to do. He didn't tell me I couldn't do it. He just wouldn't give me, he wouldn't tell me where the gun was. Mm-hmm. And it can be done. And for those of you that are uninitiated, you can do it. I encourage you to do it. Because guess what? It means more money for me and Osun Funke. And we always try to expand and grow over here.
Don't call me with that bullshit. Don't call me. Don't call me with that bullshit. I'm not even going to tell that story. Because I have a story for that.
No, tell it.
If you get yourself into some trouble because of you, don't call me with that. Don't call me with that. Call me before you make the decision to fuck somebody up, okay? There's always alternatives to that. But I think the main thing, that we're missing here that we have not actually said is that, whether or not you need to fuck somebody up is going to be based on your individual diagnosis. It's like calling the hospital and saying, how do I clear up this rash? You know what I mean? They can't cure you over the phone. They're not even going to attempt to give you an answer. They're going to say, you need to come in. We need to look at the rash and identify it. We need to figure out the possible causes of it. We need to see whether it's contagious and it's been spread to anybody else or where you might have gotten it from, so on and so forth. And I think spiritual issues are to be handled the same way. If you have a problem, a situation that has you at your wit's end and you feel like you need to really go to war with somebody, there's so many different things that we need to look at. How did you get in this situation? First of all, who's at fault? You or the other person? Are you protected? Do they have protections? So many different things that you need to look at, and so it's like I said, it's like calling the hospital and saying, hey, how do I get rid of this rash? I can't tell you.
That is definitely, I get that. That's definitely informed by Ifa, because Fayende says Ifa stresses that warfare is the absence of intelligence.
Absolutely.
And my god sister is corroborating what I'm saying. No, they won't. No, the spirits won't turn down any work. They're not human. They have no emotions. Mm-hmm. So it's on you, basically. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that there's an aspect of that is true also for Ifa, meaning, if you particularly if you have an Orisha. And what I mean by that is if you possess that Orisha and you've been initiated into that Orisha's cult, like if you have that pot of that Orisha, or if you have been scratched and you have the ashe of that Orisha, or whatever process you went through. But if you have a particular Orisha, it is an understanding that Orisha will perform for you. They will work with you and on your behalf. And no, they don't have emotions. I think that's one of the dangers that we experience, particularly in the West. We over-humanize and over-romanticize the Orisha and the Loa. People love to think of Oshun as this voluptuous woman, much like myself, clad in yellow, who just wants to laugh and giggle and blow kisses all day and hook people up and act as a matchmaker, and every now and then, make it rain into your life and bless you. Well, Oshun is a lot of that energy, but she actually is all of the fresh water on the planet. You understand? And all the power therein. And so what you're talking about is a primordial source of power, one of the causes of creation. And it doesn't care so much about right and wrong. It just cares about isness, what it is, because the truth is that Oshun was here in the beginning and she'll be here in the end, and everything that happens in the middle doesn't really matter. It's just part of the building and destruction of the world, which is constantly happening. And, we destroy each other, we build each other up. Babies are born, old people die, and all kinds of shit happens in the middle.
Okay, Divine Atasa retracted what she was saying, and I was about to, and it was a great segue into talking about spiritual warfare, which is like having the secrets to it, which was what she was trying to say. Like there are levels to your initiations. Just because you have the secrets to it doesn't mean that you will practice it. You're gonna learn it. You're gonna learn everything. You're gonna learn how to do everything. But should you do it? That's really up to you. I think that under the circumstance, because of how this shit works, I think that you have to have personal integrity. I think that that's the key thing. Have personal integrity. I'm just saying that there aren't traditional restrictions around what you can do and what cannot be done. And I'm going to let you know the law will do any goddamn thing, but you need to have integrity because the law of karma always operates.
Always.
I don't know any way that you can bend the rules, but you can't break them.
And then another thing that you guys need to understand, and I'm speaking specifically to those of you who would go to have work done against someone. You may be thinking, well, yeah, I went and I saw this, this babalawo, or I went and saw this, root worker or this root woman, and she did whatever she did, and it might have caused this person to have some difficulty, but I didn't do it. She did it. That's actually the opposite of how it works. I know that in many traditions, and I'm just going to say ATRs as a whole, not really pointing out one versus the other, but I know in many ATRs or African traditional religions that the priest or the priestess is actually charged with duty bound to facilitate the request of his or her clients and godchildren. That doesn't mean that they will do anything, okay? But it means that their role is to serve and to do that work, and the karma arising from that is yours, not theirs. They're doing their job. They're actually walking along their path and satisfying their mission by being available to you to have the work done. The actions that come behind that are yours and yours alone. So that's another thing that you need to understand. Intentions are everything.
Hey, I always ask myself, should this be done? Should this be done by me? Should this be done by me right now? Most of the times, I don't even get to should this be done by me right now. For other clients, however, yes, in my personal life, it's not something I do. I joke a lot about doing fucked up shit to people, but I just be talking shit. I don't do nothing. I ain't gonna bust a grape. But this conversation reminds me of the scene of Eve's Bayou when she wanted to kill her father.
Oh, I don't remember that movie much.
I don't remember. I'm getting mixed up with Beloved.
I need to watch Eve's Bayou again, though. That's come up a few times in the past couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to watch it again.
We're going to watch it again and do an analysis.
Yeah. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Oh, so something else my god sister wants me to get across. If you can't do it, you'll have to refer the person to someone who can, meaning if you won't do the job. Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, okay, now that's some interesting shit right there. That's why I said this is where it gets dangerous, because I learned when I was in Haiti, it was like there under no circumstances should you tell somebody no. Like, you have to do the work in some capacity, in some way. Mm-hmm. If that person is broke, the spirits will let you know.
And adjust the price for
them. And if you don't want to do, because I remember when we was in, I want to throw some shade so bad, but I can't. I just remember we had an awful ass teacher, and Atasa knows what I'm talking about. We had an awful ass teacher in Haiti. And we had a really, really good one after that. But we had a teacher that was telling us like how to, he was supposed to be teaching us how to do magic. And I asked him, I said, well, I got clients, I need to break up some marriages. We sat there for 45 fucking minutes and learned shit, okay? But what I did learn was that you got to go to the Loa first. And you go to the Loa, ask, are you the most effective Loa to do this? Mm-hmm. Not will you do it. Are you the most effective? After that, you're supposed to figure out what can the client do that's not, I guess you could say, what can a client do that's not informed by spiritual work to address the situation, such as this person asking, well, how do I make somebody's heart stop? Well, why don't you just move to another location? You ain't got to worry about the shit if you got enemies. Like, there are so many things, there are very practical things that people can do to avoid having to pay for spiritual work. And then I learned that, let's say you do end up in a situation where you get a serial killer coming to you saying, I'm on trial and I'm trying to get off trial. Can you do this work for me? Oh, you don't want to do it? You better refer that person to somebody who can do it and is willing to do it. Or else you're going to have to do it. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't have a reference, you have to do it, even if you don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. So you're not really going to ever tell nobody no.
You'll just refer them out or refer them. You're going to do it or help them get it done. And
it leads back to, I mean, fundamentally, in my circumstances, I'm not a civilian, so I mean, I guess just, you know, to the original question, it doesn't really apply. It still goes. A civilian can handle their own battles. They shouldn't. I encourage you to, so I can make some more money.
Because they got to come to you for the cleanup.
Or you. Don't call
me.
Don't bullshit. Why not?
Call me in advance. Call me when you see that the train is speeding up. Don't call me after the crash.
Let's talk about the different success rates of kitchen workers and priestesses.
I don't know how we can evaluate that, but let's talk about it.
Okay. Let's evaluate it in this way. Because I remember in the video you said that I remember in this video you were like, you know, I remember how it was before I was initiated and I was doing Voodoo and I was making shit work and how things were. So, you know, I'm not trying to throw shade at, you know, people that believe that energy circulates and stuff like that, but I really am asking to do a compare and contrast. Before initiation doing work, after initiation doing work. The power of prayer and how prayer has become, because you just emphasize the power of prayer all the time.
All the time.
Yes.
Yes, I'm a prayer warrior. I come from a long line of prayer warriors. I believe in prayer and I pray so many times a day.
Real quick, is prayer warrior synonymous with witch?
So witch is an Anglican word. Anglican is not even the word that I was trying to say. It is a word stemming from Old English, and
synonym is too.
And it means
I'm just fucking with you. I don't know if it is. I was just fucking with you.
Synonym is Latin, but witch means wise woman, and it's an Old English word. It's not necessarily a term that I'm uncomfortable with. I just don't like the connotations that it emotes, you know, because of Hollywood and, you know, all of that. I prefer, you know, I'm a priestess. You know, I prefer to be called a priestess. That's actually what I am. Now, to answer so I don't call myself a witch.
I remember when we first met and you asked me, you said, why don't you refer to yourself as a witch? And I gave you all these reasons why. And I was like, it's a gendering there. I guess I'd say warlock. But anyway, keep on.
Yeah. I'm a priestess, not a witch. But I'm not necessarily insulted if you call me a witch, you know. And if you call me a witch with the intention of insulting me, then it becomes a joke, you know, and I really am tickled by that. But I don't think that a prayer warrior is necessarily a witch, no.
Okay.
But I think that a prayer warrior is a priestess.
Okay.
And I think that, you know, I say this quite often, but the same PR that's in prayer is the same PR that's in priest and priestess. And a priest or a priestess prays. That is what they do. And that's where our power lies, in prayer. And what makes it powerful, and yes, we know how to do other things, you know. You may be familiar with herbs. You may be familiar, you know, in healing modalities. You may be, you know, an energy worker. You may be an alchemist, you know, and be able to do really high-level energetic transmutations. You may have other skills that support you being a priest or a priestess or a prayer warrior, but the power is in the prayer, and that power comes from the fact that when you are initiated under a particular deity, or into a system, the assumption, well, I don't want to say assumption, but depending on the tradition, what actually happens is that those energies become receptive to your needs, and more receptive to your needs because you have been initiated into that system, into the cult of that Orisha, into that system. Those energies now respond to you quicker than they would someone who isn't. It doesn't mean that if you are not initiated into Oshun and you pray to Oshun that she won't listen, but I believe she'll listen to me faster. My prayers will be answered quicker because of the sacrifices that have been made, because of the initiation process itself. Without giving away too much information, you are actually harmonized and synchronized with the deity that you're crowned under, when you're crowned or initiated. And that happens in a number of different ways, but it's not small stuff. You're not getting sprinkled with rose petals. You're going through some shit.
Yeah. Everybody's initiation is different. So how we do it in Tigwav, you're going to harmonize with the deity at the beginning of the ritual. So a lot of people that you've read the books, and I just want to clear up some shit. You probably have read the books. Haitian Voodoo is orange, or the Voodoo book. I think her name Amatola. I'm not scratching my face because I'm disgusted or anything. It's a purple book, but it's a purple and orange book about voodoo, and they'll talk about two steps, the lave tete, and they'll bring up the kanzo. And when I was about to start my initiation, I'm thinking that it was just gonna take 2 trips to Haiti, one for a lave tete and then one for the kanzo. And what I found out was my lave tete comes with the kanzo, and that I was gonna harmonize with Baron at the beginning of the initiation, during the kanzo ceremony, and taking Baron into me. I don't have the term for it, but the crowning, as they would call it in Ifa, the crowning that we would do. You are going to go through some shit. It ain't easy, and it's not like, and I say go through some shit. I think the hardest part about it is when you're saying, okay, I'm going to take this oath. Whatever that oath is. Mm-hmm. Whatever that oath is. And they make you... That oath is real powerful. And it's always specifically designed to speak to the fear inside of you. Everybody's oath is different. And my oath was some shit like... Not some shit, but it was like, you have to be very careful of what you think and what you say about people after this. Because whatever you think and what you say is going to happen. Which is why I try to not ruffle any feathers since I've come back from Haiti, and trying to really honor that oath. In addition to that, different... You can be in the same religion, right? And there are going to be different people going to practice in different ways. How they practice in Port-au-Prince is not how they practice in Tigwav, which is where my Bataillon is. And I can say that in I guess the way that they practice in Tigwav is that it's the theology is voodoo is voodoo means hidden mystical forces. I'm sorry, y'all, but voodoo means hidden mystical forces, and to manipulate those forces without breaking the laws of nature. But mind you, voodoo is nature, so you have to not break the laws of voodoo, which is very difficult to do. It's very difficult to break those laws. Now, that being said, it is, as you said before, like about Ifa, it is a way of life. Voodoo is a way of life. Therefore, it is a goal to build good character and to be with oneself. We have gotten so far off topic because I was just going to ask you, what was your life like prior to initiation, doing hoodoo work, your success rates?
That was the question. Mm-hmm.
It was.
That was the question.
And so...
And what happened? I don't know. Okay.
We went left when I asked you about witches.
That's right.
So I'm sorry. I threw it off.
No problem. Okay. So I do feel that my work, I know that my work was popping. Before my initiation.
It was.
It was popping.
Well, I met you 2 days prior to, and so I'm just assuming it was popping.
It was popping.
It was.
But since those, how has it changed? Is that the question, or the success rate? I still feel like it's more. I'm not going to say that it's more successful. What I noticed is a quickening. Okay. More so than anything, and then. So I've noticed that I get results faster. I get results with much less effort. Like, I used to be burning candles. You could see my house from space before I got initiated. Before my initiation, you could see my house from space. I had a candle on damn near every surface in my house, and I always had a work going, and I was doing this, and I was doing that, and I was conjuring this, and I was attracting that, and I was banishing this, and I just had all of this shit going on. My life was good, I mean, it was great. I was blessed and highly favored, and my work was working. But I worked a lot, I worked a lot. After initiation, I found myself working less, praying more, and having the same, if not better, results. I don't have to work as much, I still have moments. I actually called my Baba the other day because I was so shocked with a particular situation. I prayed for something, and 2 hours later it happened just like that, and it kind of caught me off guard. I was like, oh my gosh, and that really, those results from my understanding will just be stronger as time goes on, as my ashe, grows and develops. But I think it's just the response that the Orisha have, to my prayers, and also, the response and the favor of the Most High God, Yeah.
So let's talk about that with prayer, because I don't want to say much, but I'll say this. You said last night that it's been about 8 months, and you were just now understanding in its fullness the role of prayer in your life.
I don't really know how to talk about it. I don't know what to say other than it just is, know. And it takes me back to my youth and my childhood, where my grandmother was always praying and always told us to pray, and covered everybody in prayer. And my mother was a praying woman, and all of my aunts, like I said, I come from a long line of prayer warriors. Now I understand, because that is the way. If you think about it like this. The world, if you follow the Christian creation story, right? The world was created with what? A word. God said, let there be light, and then there was light, and it was good. So it's through the word that we create things. It's through the word that that any of this and all of this exists. And so it is through your words that you make things happen in your life as well. And so those words, I guess, I'm talking about our prayers. You get what I'm saying? Speaking to these divine forces, these forces of nature and of creation, the hands and fingers of God. You get what I'm saying? That's who you're talking to. That's the power that you have the ability to command. I don't like to use that word, because I think that it's more of a helping and helpful relationship. But clearly, the Orisha do way more for us than we could ever do for them, And so that's it, You ask them for what you need, and they provide. And it is. And so the thing that I need for people to understand is that initiation is important. Initiation is important because it makes you part of their flock. People say, well, these are forces of nature. Everybody can experience them. Everybody can feel them.
They can. And
everybody can tap in. And I'm not disagreeing with that.
We're saying can, because can is synonymous with possible. Well, I'm
Yeah. I just think, you know, that in my, and I'm talking from personal experience, you know, the power of initiation just cannot be discounted.
Yeah, I want to explain something to you all about Osun Funke and why it is that her prayers are also so effective, which she's not bringing up. She doesn't know. Her Mercury is in her 7th house. Osun Funke is a Virgo, and her Mercury's in Virgo, so her Mercury is exalted. The way that she communicates is a lot more sophisticated than how I communicate. My Mercury's in Scorpio, so it's going to sound scientific and very curt. That being said, you need to know where your Mercury sign is placed. It is incredibly important to know where your Mercury sign is placed. People that have a Mercury in Pisces where it's debilitated, you have the ability to have some very, very strong prayers, but are your prayers specific? Are they strategic? And are your prayers designed to speak to the areas of your life that you have problems? Deva also has her Mercury in her 7th house, which means that the 7th house is the house of contracts, legal agreements. So imagine someone with an exalted Mercury in the 7th house making these petitions to these primordial entities. You want her to pray for you. She's not just a priestess. The time and day at which her mom had her is particularly important, not just in determining her destiny, but also in determining her ability to speak to those particular Orisha at the same time. Because of the time that she's born, I have the utmost belief that her prayers are probably some of the most supreme prayers you can purchase. If that, I've read her prayers. She texts them to me all the time. They're beautiful. She's got some on her phone that she should be reading to you all that you all should write down. But you might just want to pay her for that. That being said, make sure that just as I said in another video, everybody can't be a reader. It ain't in your destiny. It's not in your destiny. Everyone can pray. Everyone don't come from a line of prayer warriors.
I was going to say, I think the takeaway from that is that prayer warrior is a real thing.
It is.
It's a real thing. You know, you can go to your war room, your closet, and you can pray all day. But if you are not a prayer warrior, it's not going to have the same effect as someone who is. But that doesn't mean that you don't have your own special gifts.
Exactly.
And that you don't have your own position in the world that's very necessary as well. But I want people to understand that prayer warrior is a thing, you know.
No, and her chart says it. She's a Pisces rising. She's the most spiritual rising sign there is. That Virgo falls in the 7th house, right? And I'm just basically what I'm telling you is this: that her prayers are divine contracts that can change the cosmos, and not only that, things happen for her very quickly. And so when you purchase spiritual work from her, what I do know is that she incorporates prayer into every single step of the process. Whether she's beating an aleke, there's a prayer. Okay? If she is dressing a candle, there's a prayer. If she's anointing her herbs, there's a prayer. She gets up out of the bed, there's a prayer. Her phone rings. Damn it, who is this? There is a prayer, okay? And her prayers work. So let's now talk about let's not talk about like the difference between blessing and anointing something.
That's what a good question.
Especially when it comes to prayer.
You're making me think.
Because people have misused. I've done this before, and I'm going to go ahead and let you all know. I have a Soulja Boy video where I completely misused the word anointing. I said, the Soulja Boy have an anointing on his life. That's not how you use the word. And, I mean, do you have an idea of how do you distinguish between blessing something and anointing it?
So blessing something, in my opinion, the way I use the word, if you bless something, you are... first of all, you're redistributing energy, right? You are making it, you're clearing away the energy, opening the way for good things to happen. Okay? So you're removing the funk when you bless something. If you anoint something, you're adding power to it. You get what I'm saying? So God bless you, and I'm gone. But if I'm going to anoint you, it's a whole situation. You know what I mean? It might just be simply me placing a dot of oil on your forehead, but like you said, you know how I rock. There have been prayers on top of prayers on top of prayers that have gone into that bottle of oil before I touch your forehead with it. But so when you are blessing something, you're scattering energy, clearing the way for good things to happen or for E-rates to come, as we say in Ifa. And when you are anointing something, you're actually adding energy to it.
Okay.
Putting energy on it.
So if you were to anoint your cell phone, and we can just, this can be a framework.
I do.
This can be a framework-based instructional video. So what process would you go through to anoint your cell phone? What would you do?
Well, first you need to pick,
Give it to a spirit.
You have, right. Give me the words. Okay, let's just use the cell phone example. I was actually trying to think of a general way to explain how to anoint something, but I think that it's just so varied depending on what it is, you know. So if I was going to anoint my phone, and you guys, please listen closely because this is I'm about to give you some jewels here. If you work with your phone, for example, if your phone is a means by which you make money, you probably need to anoint your phone, okay? And the first thing that you would want to do is choose a method for doing so. I like to work with waters. I like to work with oils. You can even use powders. You can even just use prayer. But I'm going to go with the oil because that's something that's most familiar with people. Now the premise would be that oil that you're going to use is an oil that has been made holy. It's an oil that actually has the ability to add power or energy to a particular thing.
So fuel my fire